All right, welcome back to another podcast. Today is the fourth episode of the SNBP podcast. We are now available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, I believe Google Podcasts, obviously on YouTube and Twitch as well. We'll continue posting there as well. But we got a few episodes up already on the other platforms. It's nice to see some of you guys listening there. I know I have been. I've been looking back on our podcast a bit, see where we can improve and see what we're doing right. So without any further ado, this is episode 4. I'll let the guys quickly talk about what they've got going on in their lives. The holidays are over, so I'm sure some of us have work going on, big plans. Nick, we'll start with you. What do you got going on?
Just Twitch, man. Just being busy, getting back in the grind, man. This is kind of all I do these days. So a lot of the same for me. Been really busy with that, and it's been fun. Been doing a lot of NHL, vibing out. Yeah. Thanks for popping in, man. Appreciate you. But
yeah, I had a really, really busy holiday break. Honestly, every day there was something happening. But I know Ponch watches this show. Season 4 of Cobra Kai came out, so I've been watching that. And yeah, I like it. It is fun. It is funny to watch. Are you watching it, Ponch?
Oh yeah. I finished it.
I'm on episode 7. I was watching it right before I hopped on with you guys. It's a good show.
Awesome. And Ponchy, what do you got going on?
Not a whole lot. I'm backing the Sharks as best as I can.
Oh, you're gonna hate me later.
But yeah, aside from that, I'm on school break right now, so I'm just getting ready for school in about a month.
Sweet. Yeah, no, my break's about to end. I start work tomorrow, so we'll see how it goes. I have to go pick up all the tech tomorrow, but obviously in Quebec with COVID, everything's shut down. So basically I go for half an hour, get the computer, and dip. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. But anyway, without further ado, we're going to start off with the Habs quickly. Don't worry, quickly. There's not much to say about the Canadians because I think we cover them every podcast, although I'm pointing at my chair for those of you who can't see. A Habs fan, so I mean, I have to talk about them at least a little bit, especially when there's a little bit of news. So right now the GM search...
It's getting worse. It's getting worse every week.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, in our defense... in our defense, we played a game against Tampa, Florida, and Carolina, 3 of the best teams in the league, with 5 of our original skaters. 5. We had 20 people in COVID protocol, and the NHL's like, yeah, go ahead, you're chill. So, you can't blame the Canadians for losing those games. They were giveaway games that basically, quite frankly, the NHL said, yeah, you know what, Florida, Tampa, let's let you run away with this race in the Atlantic Division. The Canadians are done anyway, so let's just let them play. And then we have about, I think, a week off or a week and a half off for the Canadians. Their next game's on the 12th of January. We're recording this on the 5th, so that's 7 days right there. So they got time off to recover and hopefully get, more than 5 skaters that are regulars back. That'd be kind of nice. So we'll see where that goes for the Canadians. But, it was a nice way to see players like Vedamo play and some rookies like Ylonen play, give them some opportunity that they've never been given before. So it was nice to see them play. Some of them look out of place, some of them don't. So we'll see how it works out for them. Anyway, the more important news, though, because those were throwaway games that we got to see some French NHLers play. The more important news, though, is the GM search. The GM search is further underway. As covered in previous episodes, we kind of know a good long list of who their candidates are, but I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but it's looking like, and so far we know these people are being interviewed, it's Roberto Luongo, Matthew Darche, and Danny Briere. So those 3 guys are being interviewed as far as I know. I saw it on Stu Cowan's article. So they're being interviewed. And the Canadians also made it public that they're looking to hire more women in management positions, which is kind of cool. You don't see that a lot in the NHL, so we'll see how that works out for them. Finally, the last news for the Canadians is Carey Price's future is still unclear. But one thing we do know is that the Bergevin contract that he gave to Carey Price, that huge deal for $10.5 million a year, guarantees that Price, if we were to move him, would be traded for next to nothing. So I don't know what you guys think of that news. If you have anything to add to it, feel free to do so. But if not, we'll move on to the next topic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was gonna actually ask you how you feel about the GM candidates being former NHL players. Given last week we were just talking about former NHL players getting into roles of management and all that. I mean, I know Luongo for sure. He's had some experience with like Team Canada. I think he
Yeah.
was part of the World Junior team last year or something like that. Whenever they won something. Oh,
Yeah.
I know that because he was holding that there's like a picture of him holding the trophy and he's like screaming. It looks super funny. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I know about that. I don't know much about Briere. I know him as a player, but I don't know if he had any management position after his hockey career. Do you know anything about that at all, or no?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I know Daniel Briere might have an affiliation with Philadelphia right now. Because some of these guys, they did need to get permission from other teams to talk to. So Roberto Luongo, I don't know if they needed permission from anybody to talk to him because I don't think he's really associated with an NHL team right now. I'm not sure about that. I'd have to look into that, but
I mean,
do know
Vancouver's
that.
still paying him.
Pardon?
Vancouver's still paying him for the last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah,
he'll give
that's
Montreal a discount for the contract. But I do know for an absolute fact that Darsh is the current assistant GM or has a high management role in Tampa Bay right now, directly under the guy that Montreal let go previously, who's doing a really good job, Brisebois. So that the current GM of Tampa, is doing all the cap finagling and all these good trades that always work out for some reason, and every draft pick that seems to be working. Like obviously, Steve Yzerman's a big part of that, but Brisebois took over and he won back-to-back cups. So clearly they're doing something right. He's doing something right, and the Canadiens let him go, and he's a French GM, so that's unfortunate. But we are trying to steal his number 2, which is Matthew Darche. So they learned from their mistakes, and they said, "Hey Tampa, we're going to take your third guy." So because it was Yzerman, Brisebois, and then Darche, and then Yzerman leaves, so then Brisebois becomes number 1. So basically, in a way, we stole their number 3, but you know what? We'll take it. Matthew Darche seems like a good guy. He played in Montreal before, so he kind of knows the atmosphere. He's French as well, so that's really good. And yeah, we'll see how it works out. But he's got management experience on a very good team, so I mean, what's not to love, right? Anyway, let's move on to the team awards. So we'll start with you, Nick. We have 4 categories for team awards on this episode. I got inspired to do this from the Steve Dangle podcast.
SDP.
Yeah, SDP. Thank you. SDPN podcast from Steve Dangle. I think this was Jesse's idea to do a team awards. They give out the Your Team's Done award. So we have 4 categories of awards to give out, courtesy of the Steve Dangle podcast. So we have the You're Done, we have the Surprising Success, we have the Unexpected Failures, and we have the Masters of Mediocrity. So, Nick, we'll let you start us off with the You're Done award. Who do you have as You're Done?
Well, I want to know where does... Okay, so the You're Done, how does that differ from the Mediocrity one?
Well, the You're Done is, okay, you're not making the playoffs. The Mediocrity is kind of like the teams that are... So the Masters of Mediocrity are the teams that are always kind of like competing for a playoff spot, but not really doing much with it. They're kind of just like... They're not finished. Like, they still like have a chance to make the playoffs, but like they're kind of like out. You know what I mean? They're like kind of like fringe playoff teams.
So it's like Arizona versus like the Canucks.
Exactly. Like Canucks, I mean, I don't have the Canucks as a master of mediocrity simply because they've won so many games with their new coach there. So that's why I didn't put them there, because I think they're going to keep winning. But like teams in their position, exactly, that would be the teams you'd put there, depending on the circumstances.
All right, so You're Done is the absolute trash can.
Exactly. Like, the teams that aren't making the playoffs this year, guaranteed.
I mean, Arizona, man. Like, what is going on over there? Like, what can you say about them? I mean, it's a total tire fire, man. It's so sad to see, too, because, like, they looked like they were heading in the right direction, and it just imploded. And, I mean, how did they even dig out of this at this point? Like, how long is that going to take? They kind of look like Buffalo right now. It's like Buffalo has no chance either, and it's going to be like that for, like, 5 to 10 years, probably. Which is crazy because neither of those teams have done anything in the past 5 to 10 years.
Yep.
And it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And like, just like when you think they're good to go, something happens. And I don't even know, like, Arizona, it's just, I don't know what that team is right now. Like, I watched them against the Rangers, and man, it's bad. It's bad. Like, there's just nothing. There's nothing there at all. And I guess, I mean, Keller looks good. Keller's a nice one, but other than Keller, that team is just brutal, absolutely brutal, and Buffalo too.
Yeah,
so I'd throw them. Those would be my picks.
So Buffalo and Arizona for you. Who's their first line? It's Keller, Kessel, and I'm pretty sure they had like Travis Boyd.
Is it Hayden or
I don't think they were playing him with those two guys. I thought it was Travis Boyd.
I didn't even know Hayden was playing. Is he playing?
I
I
think he
remember
is.
when they
He
drafted
might
him.
be.
I remember when they drafted him, everyone was like, "What the hell?" Like, I remember there's so many good players on the board, and they went for him, and I haven't really heard too much from him since then. So I don't know how good of a player he is, but
Mhm.
yeah, I didn't know he was playing. So I mean, that's good for him. But I do know the first line at one point I definitely had Beagle and Erickson earlier in the year, and
Mhm.
as Canucks fans were just kind of laughing at that, like, "Oh, okay,
Mhm.
you guys are
Yeah.
really first time players. We gave away first time players, guys." That's what it was like
Yeah.
back in start of the season.
And
But
Devlin
but
brings up a good point in chat. He said that didn't Arizona recently have a game that both teams scored like 7 or 8 goals? Absolutely. Arizona somehow scored 7 goals and found a way to lose in a shootout, I believe, right? It was in a
Against who,
shootout.
Punch? Who was that about? Who was it against?
your San Jose Sharks.
Yeah, yeah. So Paunchy and Birdie, who are your guys on the you're done list?
So I'll just say mine. I'm gonna say the Islanders. They're on the you're done list. They had a really tough start to the season. I don't know how many games in a row it was they started on the road, but it was definitely double digits when they were on the road, and that's always a bad way to start your season. They were
Yeah,
filled with injuries throughout the entire beginning of their season and COVID concerns. It's really derailed their entire season because when you think about it, um, they went to the conference finals. Was it twice in the
in a
last
row.
couple
Yeah,
of years?
against Tampa
Yeah,
Bay.
yeah. And then now it's just they had so many bad things happen to them in a row. And when you actually look at their record, I mean, they're not horrible,
Yeah,
right? Like
they're
they're
10, 12,
10,
and 6.
yeah, which isn't bad, but they're gonna have to play so many games in a row and win so many games in a row. Like you look at the top of the division, you have the Rangers. They got 22 wins, right? And it's gonna be hard to fight back. And that
Mhm.
division's already stacked. You got the Rangers, Washington, Carolina. Carolina is killing it right now. And then
Pittsburgh
you got the
too.
Penguins. Yeah, the Penguins
Yeah,
are also doing very
yeah.
well. It's gonna be hard for them to come back, so they're on my year done list.
Fair enough. And Paunchy, who do you got on your list?
I think this one might be a little bit of a hot take, but I've got the Dallas Stars.
Really?
Okay.
Okay.
So they're third. They're like third from the bottom in the Central, and they have big names: Sagan,
Yeah.
Ben, Radulov. Radulov's
Pavelski?
35. They've got Pavelski, Sharks legend. Um, he's like what, 36 maybe?
Oh, 30,
35?
maybe even 37, right? 36? He's
Yeah.
old. Old. Well, not old. He's old in terms of hockey terms. He's
He's
old.
relatively old. But yeah,
Yeah.
so they've got that. So, and then they've got a couple like good kids, and then they also have Klingberg. And Klingberg, like, he's a good defensive defenseman, but like that's not winning games right now.
Yeah.
So essentially, I think if either, I think they're kind of in a boom or bust situation right now. So if by the trade deadline, I think they're either going to sell off all these old pieces, or they're just gonna go all in.
Yeah.
So Pavelski, he's looking great. I think he is leading the team. And then
Absolutely.
you've also got Jason Robertson, and he's playing well. But I think wouldn't it be better if they retained a little bit, because Pavelski's expiring. So Boston, I heard you need something that's not the first line, or like these other fringe teams. If Dallas retains a little bit of salary, I don't know, they could get a decent pick for somebody like Pavelski.
You know how much
Or
he's making by chance?
I think he's making 7.
Maybe you can check on Cap Friendly. They're
Yeah,
usually
I'll
pretty
check
good
right
with
now.
everything. Like, yeah, like, so you're saying that maybe they should sell now before it's too late to sell and they're just kind of forced to sell, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
So they can choose to sell rather than being forced to sell
Yeah.
based on circumstances.
yeah.
Okay.
And then like it sucks that Bishop left. Oh, Pavelski's making 7. So Bishop like
Yeah.
retired,
Yeah.
and that sucks. And like Holtby's holding down the fort, but like, is Holtby gonna win you a Stanley Cup? Maybe, if you've got a perennial like all-star goal scorer. But I just don't see it happening.
You know, as we were just talking about, I just pulled up Cat Friendly, and it is interesting because I never thought of the Stars like that. that they're like fully done. But when you look at cap friendly, so they have Pavelski at 7 mil, he's expiring. Radulov is expiring as well at 6.25. Then you also have Klingberg expiring at 4.25.
A lot of
And
expiring deals.
yeah, and
Mhm.
you're right. I mean, if they're not in a playoff position, like you said, they're either going to go all in near the deadline, or if they're too far out, you can probably definitely see some of these guys go into any fringe or contending team if they can
Mhm.
retain salary, especially if it's only 1 year. I'm sure they can retain
Yeah.
the salary.
Yo, what you
And
just described to me, from an outside perspective, someone who has no bias towards any of these players, because I don't care. I find Dallas cool, and I like the Dallas Stars, but like, I don't have any connection to these players, like other than Jason Robertson and Rupe Hintz. Like, bro, that's, to me, what I'm hearing is the perfect opportunity. If you're not if they're a playoff team, obviously keep contending, but if you're if you're nowhere near a playoff spot and you're not competing for one by the deadline, that sounds like a beautiful scenario to rebuild. You have so many expiring deals, so many guys who other teams would really, really want for a cup run. You say, here's a first round pick, here's a first round pick, here's a prospect, here's a prospect. Bam, like, there you go. Your cupboards are filled, you're ready to go, and your rebuild's set. And you still have the likes of Hintz. You have the likes of, I don't know if Jamie Benn's going to be movable, but you have the likes of Hintz, Robertson. You still have Heiskanen. You have a good team around Esa Lindell. Like, you have players to build around. And you'll have cupboards full of prospects. That sounds like a great opportunity for Dallas, quite honestly.
yeah,
you
it
can
won't even be a
do what
full
the Rangers
rebound.
did.
Yeah.
Exactly. It sounds exactly
like
what the Rangers did.
That's the same thing. Just move out those guys that, like, yeah, the fans might love them, but in reality is, you have to move them. You have to move them at some point. You can't hold on to them forever, and they're not in a position right now. Like, maybe they can make a push for the playoffs, but even if they get in, what's Dallas going to do in the first round? They're going to get cooked.
Hey, they made it to the Stanley Cup final a year and a half ago.
Yeah, but that was because Hudobin was having a hero run, and
Yeah,
and just they had a good storm go for them there. Like they're not gonna do any damage in the playoffs right now if they got it.
yeah.
So now
My
it's a
friends and I
perfect time,
were,
like you're saying, retool. Definitely retool.
yeah, my friends and I were talking about the Rangers just the other day and saying, I think it was 2-3 years ago when they were close to a playoff. They were close to playoff contention, and then their owner just came out and gave a letter to the fans and said, "We're chalking this year up. We're going to rebuild." And now they're first in the league. As of like yesterday, I don't know if they still are.
Was that the Rangers?
Yeah, the Rangers.
Yeah, that's what made me
we held
excited
it
about
for a
having
day.
Jeff Gordon in Montreal. He's willing to rebuild in a tough market.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, they did it right, man. Like, all bias aside, the Rangers definitely did it right. That's exactly how you have to do a retool. Because otherwise, if you keep pushing it, you keep trying to make the playoffs, you end up like Detroit did, and you end up in that hole where you just keep trying to get into the first round, and you get bumped in the first round because you keep making stupid deals, and then you're stuck with aging veterans that aren't doing anything anymore, bad contracts, and no picks. Or you can be smart and what was that, Lazy?
How many years in a row was that for them in their
Detroit?
playoff run? It was like 20 something
20 years.
25.
25-ish,
I think.
24, 25?
Yeah.
Damn, that's a
I think they
lot.
hit 25.
That's a lot of contending. That to me sounds like a tired franchise by the end of that. Holy shit.
But like
All
the
right.
last the last 10 years or whatever it was, I mean, after they won or went to the final in 09.
After that, it was just kind of surviving.
Yeah, it was yeah.
Yeah, that's probably when they should have rebuilt. But yeah, I mean, hey, usually that's how it goes, and especially in the National Hockey League, it's very rare for a team to know when it's their time to rebuild. They usually try to push it a few years because they can't sell ownership on losing. Ownership's like, I don't want to lose yet. They want to keep making that money. They want to keep making that playoff revenue in the NHL. That's something that owners love. They love that playoff revenue because they can charge so much more money per ticket. So, we'll see how it plays out. We got a nice chat here from Cheese Whiz saying that Ottinger is 7-2 with nice numbers. Dallas needs to play him more. And to build on that, I'm pretty sure Holtby's had a pretty decent tenure since he left Vancouver and signed in Dallas. He's looked pretty good too. So Dallas has a good goalie tandem, which is what they had with Bishop and Hudobin when they were still contending. So I think Dallas's problem is just their goal scoring. Hey, Jungle, thank you for the bits, by the way. We appreciate that. But yeah, so I think if Dallas can figure out their goal scoring, which I don't know if they can with this core, then they'd be set. But Sagan's not what he used to be. Jamie Benn's definitely not what he used to be. So you're relying on Pavelski at 36. You're relying on relatively young rookie in Jason Robertson and Rupe Hintz. I'm sorry, Rupe Hintz is a great center. He's a good two-way center, but I don't think he's a guy who's going to put up 80 points. So you need, it's time. It's time for me, at least for me in Dallas. Anyway, let's move on. But before we move on to the next awards, I do want to make sure our chat feels loved and acknowledged. So quickly, TW by mentioned that the Penguins made a trade for Alex Nylander. So the Penguins acquired Alex Nylander, the fabled prospect who had medium elite potential for the longest time in NHL 21, NHL 20, NHL 19, NHL 18. Now finally he has like medium 9 or something, but even then they left him with good potential to start the year. They finally realized he's not the greatest prospect ever. But anyway, the Penguins say, you know what, let's take a chance on these Magic Beans. They acquire Alex Nylander for Sam Lafferty. So they clear some cap that allows them to make maybe a few moves at the deadline. That's a pretty good deal for me. I like that. What do you guys think?
I don't have the biggest opinion on Alex Nylander. I mean, it's always good to. I mean, he's not old or anything. It's always good to take chances on players like this if you can afford it. I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can play him with like he's never played with stars like Crosby, Malkin, right? So I mean, Malkin is coming back too. So I mean, maybe you put some on there or somewhere there. We'll see. You never know if he's young players or just players in the league because development's never linear. There's so many factors that go into it, right? Like where you're playing, who you're playing with. It's just a low risk type of thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's like one of those things like, I don't know if you guys play a lot of franchise modes in NHL, but it's one of those things like you acquire a guy who's like a perfect fit for your line chemistry and you play with your best players for like maybe 40 games or a season and he grows like crazy, then you just trade him for a bunch of assets. Like that could be something that they do, you know, playing with Malkin or Crosby. I don't know which line you want to put him on. I know Evan Rodriguez has looked like a first line winger this season because he's playing with Crosby and Gensel and he's just tearing the league apart for some reason.
He scored a hat trick.
Exactly. Evan Rodriguez is looking like a brilliant move here by Pittsburgh. He's played so well. Even when Crosby was injured, he was playing on the first line. Evan Rodriguez looked really good. Like him and that Penguins team dominated the Leafs, and like the Leafs were healthy. And this was Evan Rodriguez, first line center against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they won like 7-2. So the Penguins, no matter who they seem to put for Mike Sullivan, he finds a way to win games. That's just a good coach and a good system they've built up a really good culture in Pittsburgh, where it's like when you go there to win and to be a winner. And the players know when they go to Pittsburgh, they're going to win. Like they know that their job is to win and their job is to play well, and they just know they're going to play well. It's so weird. Like they find these random guys, they make them really good, then they trade them for like a second round pick, and then all of a sudden like a year later the guy just is no longer in the NHL. It's just it's one of those things, man. It's one of those things.
Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a bit of a tangent there, but I'm sure they'll find a way to get someone to bite on Alex Nylander once he starts putting up a 20-goal season, and they'll trade him for a second-round pick.
Good Calgary boy.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. And one last thing, Jungle Jesus mentioned as well. I'd feel guilty for not saying this on stream because he did give us a nice little donation of bits there. So, Jungle Jesus, thank you for the bits, and also for mentioning that Zane McIntyre got signed. It's not a huge signing. The Minnesota Wild signed Zane McIntyre is a 29-year-old goalie. Basically, he's going to be a third-string guy for when like Cam Talbot gets hurt or something. So just a quick little signing there I wanted to mention, just to make our chat feel a little bit of love.
You guys know that meme of Snoop Dogg saying who?
Was that to Zane McIntyre?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Where he's like, who? That's my response to that.
Oh my god. Well, you know what? Cam Talbot's hurt. Maybe Zane McIntyre will put up a stellar season.
Who knows? I'm sure I'll be eating my words in a week or two.
Yeah, you'll watch it put up a shutout like Zach Fucali did and then go back to the Niners. All right, let's move on. Actually, no, quickly, I didn't get to mention mine. So the You're Done award, we already mentioned Arizona, who's 32nd in the league. I'm going to mention my Montreal Canadiens. They're done. Get them out of here. They're done. You're done, boy. You're done. They're 31st in the league with only 7 wins. And then you got Seattle. They're done. 29th in the league. And Ottawa, you're done. 30th in the league. You guys are done. Get some prospects. Have a good time. You're done. So let's move on. I'll start us off with a surprising success since I'm already off to a tangent. So my surprising success, I was prepared to put them in the mediocre section because I assumed they would be, because I wasn't paying attention to their standings because they're in a different division and a different conference than my team. The Nashville Predators. Surprising success. They are an 8th in the NHL. In the entire league, they're 8th in the league with 21 wins, 11 losses in regulation, and 2 overtime shootout losses. So they are basically 21-13. That is well above 500. That's a good record. The Nashville Predators find a way to win, man. I don't know what they're eating there in Nashville. Matt Duchene and Ryan Johansson, they just decided to show up this year, and Nashville
It's a
looks great.
catfish.
Well,
It's
even
the
like
catfish.
yeah, even like Granlund is having a crazy like all these guys like point per game. Like Granlund is 30 and 32.
Yeah,
Roman
it's
Yoshi's
crazy.
30, 32.
Forsberg's been
Duchesne
amazing.
29. Forsberg is insane. That's some guy I really wanted to get out of Nashville. Like I wanted that guy on the Canucks so badly. When they were looking like I think it was around last year.
They were
Elliot
looking
Friedman
so
reported that
mediocre
they're-
last year, too.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Elliot Friedman was like, "Oh, yep, they're looking to trade nearly everybody except for Roman Yoshi and maybe Forsberg." And yeah, he's killing it. UC Saros as well. He's going insane. Like I knew he'd be good,
Oh,
but
yeah. Saros is playing
Yeah.
like a Vezina goalie this year. He's been unreal.
yeah,
The only game he looked
Yeah.
bad was against Montreal. Ryan Poehling sniped on him twice. But
Yeah.
other than that, like the Nashville Predators look amazing. Like that's a surprising success to me. I was prepared. I was so ready to call them mediocre and done this year. I was so ready. And then all of a sudden, Philip Forsberg just rejuvenated himself. Granlund, Johansson, Duchesne, that center depth just showed up out of nowhere. They trade away Ryan Ellis, and then all of a sudden, these guys who were never playing in the league before are all playing well. Michael McCarron is back in the league somehow after his random stint in Montreal. Like it's so random, but they're playing well. They find a way. Their coach, I don't know, maybe the whole system together is just finding a way to win for them. But that's my surprising success. Let's move on. Ponchi, it's your turn. What's your surprising success this year?
I've got the Ducks, and I think, yeah, it makes sense. Last year I think they were below the Sharks or just under. So, Zegras and Drysdale, fantastic. Milano and Getzlav. Getzlav is insane. I think he's got 20 points in like 30 games.
And he was on a
And
better pace than that before.
And he just became the Ducks all-time like franchise point getter. Troy Terry's looking really good. John Gibson looks like he's having fun. Fowler and Lindholm. Like Hampus Lindholm is like a top 2 pairing, second best Lindholm in the league.
Second best Lindholm.
But yeah, no, I didn't think the Ducks would be in second place in the Pacific. So yeah, they're my surprising pick this year.
Yeah, that's a very good pick, honestly. The Ducks have looked great. Cam Fowler's been great for a while, but like he's starting to get some love, which is nice to see. And it's not all John Gibson anymore, so that's nice as well. All right, let's move on. Birdie, what do you got? Berdaman, what do you got for your surprising success this year?
yeah. It was just the Predators as well, man.
Oh, yeah?
that was my main thing. There are some other teams though that are killing it. Let me just look down here. Hold on. It wasn't
I
players.
stole your
Or,
pick.
sorry, it wasn't teams. Yeah, you did, but I did have. I actually had some players for surprising
Yeah,
success.
list them off.
My players are all goalies, actually. So number
Okay.
one, I was really interested to see if Jack Campbell can replicate what he did last year, and he's playing very good. Tristan
Mhm.
Jarry had some poor times in Pittsburgh, and now he has, I think, a 930. And then Bobrovsky right now is playing at a 920. I know the Panthers are better and playing better defensively, but he was not. Well, it looked like such a bad deal when he came into the Panthers with he had like an 899 when it was his first
Oh,
year,
it
and
was
his second year was like a 900, and then now this series he's doing much better. And people were talking about Spencer Knight playing a lot of games this year, and I know for fantasy he was a very hot commodity, and people wanted to pick him up because they didn't know about Bobrovsky's future and how much he's going to play. And Bobrovsky just kind of shut that down. Like he's just playing good. He's been their number one guy all year.
Yeah, he's a starter now.
Yeah.
That's
Goalies
sweet.
are weird, man.
That's
Goalies are weird,
sweet.
I swear.
Yeah, that's sweet, man. All right, Nick, who do you got?
Well, I first had Nashville, and I don't want to be the third person that
Popular
talks about
pick.
Nashville, so I'm not going to do that. And then I had Anaheim, and then Ponchi was like, "Well, I like Anaheim." I'm like, okay, so I'm going to show some love to the Rangers. I don't. Obviously I'm biased, but I don't think anybody thought that they would be first in the Metro, and they were first in the league yesterday until Tampa jumped them. I don't think anybody thought they were going to be that good. I didn't think they were going to be that good. I thought they'd be contending. I thought they'd be hanging around. Maybe where like Pittsburgh is right now. I
But
thought they'd
not
be in
up
that
there.
area, but to be at that level and then to win back-to-back games against Tampa in a pretty convincing fashion, at least in the second game. I mean, they cooked them in that second game.
Yeah.
And Shesterkin has been, what you guys have been saying about like Campbell and Bobrovsky. Shesterkin is one of the best goalies in the league right now. It's unreal, man. Like we got so lucky getting that kind of replacement for Lundqvist because, like, I mean, how do you follow up Hank's act after 15 years of doing what he did?
Yeah.
Shesterkin's doing great. Shesterkin is like, if you guys haven't seen him,
He's
you
killing
have
it.
to watch this guy play,
Yeah.
man. It's like,
Yeah.
it's unreal. You can't be, unless like it's usually just a crappy deflection or some stupid shot going in against him. Like he's not, you don't beat him clean. You do not beat that guy with a clean shot. So they've been amazing, man. And at first in the Metro with Washington chasing them and Carolina chasing them. That's to me a very, very surprising success, especially late into the year.
Lafreniere is picking it up too a little bit, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw he's been getting like a couple points, or since they came back, or last 4 games or whatever. I think he has 4 points, something along the
Yep.
lines of that. And I've just been watching him play, and he looks like he's making some smart plays.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, it looks like he's starting to turn it around a little bit.
Problem
Wow,
is when he picks up, Kako slows down.
Mm.
That's the issue. It's like they're never both going. It's either one or the other.
Well, it's like
But,
when one's
can't
going,
complain.
he takes the other guy's ice time, right?
Yeah.
That's
But
tough.
Can't complain. I'm happy to see Laugh
Mhm.
playing well.
But then
Definitely.
people like also forget he's like what 19, so like
Yeah,
Yeah, how young is he? He plays
I
much
believe
bigger than his
19,
age.
20.
He plays much bigger
I
than
think
his
he's
age.
20. 19 or 20.
Like he definitely belongs. Like he's definitely not out of his league. You know what I mean? He definitely belongs.
Mhm.
No Bruins jersey. Yep, no Bruins jersey today, North.
I sold
Also-
the bag.
I'm just gonna remind people who don't forget or who forgot. Joe Thornton had 7 points his rookie year. So if we judge Joe Thornton by his first year, he'd be out of the league. So like respect the rookies.
Yeah,
Problem is
Respect
Joe
the
Thornton.
journeyman.
He was on the
Thornton
fourth
didn't
line in
play
Boston,
for New
though.
York. And
We
he didn't
are.
play for New York. New York is different.
I mean,
New York
Boston's
is
pretty tough too, though.
Montreal. New York is like Montreal. Yeah, Boston's a tough place, but I don't know. I feel like New York, Montreal, Toronto, like those are the markets where like if you're not playing good
Yeah.
in just a year, you will literally everyone will
Mhm.
turn on you.
Yeah,
Everyone
like,
will turn on you. It
that's what
doesn't matter.
Toffoli was saying about LA. Like he finds it so funny because in LA, like there's the superstars, like LeBron James. Then there's like the A, like that's like the S tier, like superstar. Then there's like the A athletes. Then the LA Kings are like the B athletes. Like they're like the B guys. Like you had all the LeBron James. Like you have the basketball players. You have the football players, and the football players, and then you have the hockey players. Like they can walk around the town. No one knows who they are. No one gives f all. Like they go to the games because they're entertaining. LA Kings games are entertaining, and people go. They're almost always full, but in the streets, the fans, like they don't pay attention to the hockey players as much as they pay attention to, let's say, LeBron James or any quarterback for the team in LA. I don't know. I don't really follow football that closely, but you get what I'm saying. So then when you go from that to a team like, Montreal, even Vancouver or New York or Boston, like hockey, man, people notice you. Like hockey's huge here. So especially in Montreal, like New York too, and Vancouver, like fans will notice you right away. Like you got to be careful where you go. So
Yeah.
it's just funny hearing that
You know
kind of
what?
thing. So like Joe Thornton definitely, like his first rookie season in Boston, like 7 goals or 7 points, not great. Jack Hughes was the same thing. Like everyone was criticizing him. Then all of a sudden, he's huge, he's terrible, he's amazing. Like everyone's preaching this guy, and it's like, okay, but last year you guys were all hating on him. So which is it? You know what I mean? Like last year I was like, just give him time, like he'll be better. But people were bashing this guy, like, oh, he's a bust. And now he's great. So it's like, okay, just gotta relax a bit. I'm sure Lafreniere will get there. He'll get up there. He'll get at least a few 70, maybe 65-point seasons in there. He'll be fine.
Which is cool because we're first right now. So
Exactly.
that only helps.
I
That
think
only
we're
helps.
just Yeah, I think we're just too spoiled, or just everyone fans are a little bit too spoiled of the young players coming into the league right now, where so many of them just come in and look so good right away.
Well,
And
yeah.
I think that's part of it. And it's just not like we got to remind ourselves that development really isn't linear like that. It really isn't. If you look at the stars today, I was talking to Ponch before we started the podcast, and we're just looking at all these other players that, like Barkov, Huberto, for example, just Florida, and their players. And it's not that they were bad when they were younger or anything, but they definitely were not what they are now, right? And it's just not linear. It's not even McKinnon, right? McKinnon had a couple 50-point seasons, and then he jumped 50 points up to like 100 points, whatever season that was. And yeah, I know. It's just like a lot of these young stars, like people give them flack, but you know they're gonna pan out. Like especially Lafreniere, like, or you don't know, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's not the end of the day if they're not doing, or not the end of the world if they're not doing the greatest right out the gate. You know?
Absolutely. I think which one of us had like the same confidence you do at 18 than you do at 22? Like you're so different. You're so different. The same maturity is so different. So you gotta give players time. And Spider-Man from Naruto gave up a really good point here. He kind of agreed with Ponchi about the Ducks being really good. And it brings up a good point. Like Zegras and Drysdale were so spoiled. Like, these two kids come in and like they're playing so well. You know, you can tell they make young kid mistakes. Like, you know, Zegras and Drysdale, they make risky plays. Like, it works. It makes for great highlights. But, you know, as they get older, they'll get used to it. And by the time they're both 25, 26, the Ducks team will be really, really good, you know? So, you know, Troy Terry will be fully matured. All those guys will be great, like Sam Steele. All those
Sonny
guys will be
Milano
fully matured.
too.
Sonny Milano's looking really good there. This guy's been bounced around a lot this league as well. It's nice to see him getting his success in Anaheim as well. But anyway, the point is...
Yeah, that guy, no, Milano, he fits right into that category, though. The same type of player. Like, he was getting ripped in Columbus for not doing anything. But he was playing for Tortorella.
Yeah.
Shocker. And then he leaves Tortorella, and now all of a sudden, it's like you see all that stuff that got him hyped up. But, like, everyone threw him away. I mean, it happens in the league all the time.
If he tried that move with Zegras, say that over that pass over the goalie, and then he passed out the air. Like, if he tried that in Columbus, I think he would have been benched. I guarantee he would have been benched.
He would have been sent to the minors. He would have been
just pack a suitcase.
And that's why they had to get rid of their coach. And now look at Laine. Laine is playing better. Domi's playing better. As soon as they got rid of Tortorella, man, I swear. He just destroys creativity, that guy. But anyway, the point is, we're spoiled with our rookies. It's nice to see them all doing well. Let's move on to our unexpected failures. I'll start us off again. My unexpected failure was the New York Islanders. I still think they have a chance. I know, Birdie, you said they're done. I still think they have a chance. They're only 10, 12, and 6. So if they win 2 games in a row, they're 12, 12, and 6. And just like that, they have a chance. They have so many games in hand over other teams. They're healthy. They're starting to get back on track because they were well below 500 before, and now they're 2 wins away. So I think if they just kind of keep going at the pace they're going, that they'll be within a playoff spot, within their grasp by the deadline. Maybe add a guy or two because they need a bit more goal scoring. They lost Eberle for nothing. So if they can add one more guy on offense, then that'd be great. And I think they're gonna make the playoffs. They're an unexpected failure for me now. But I give them a couple weeks, and like let's say within 2 weeks, I'll know whether or not they're probably gonna make the playoffs. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. I mean, I get the point. But for me, the way when I'm looking at it, like they have 28 games played. Carolina has 31. Okay, and Carolina has 21 more points than them. So it's gonna be they have to go on like the Canucks. How they're playing is how I think the Islanders have to play, but even more. And I'm only saying that because Metropolitan Division is so stacked. But I mean, that being said, now I'm talking about it, they could make wild card, right? I mean, they could make it that way.
Exactly.
Yeah, wild card. Yeah,
they're one of those wild.
Yeah. No, go on.
No, they're one of those wild. I think they're gonna make a wild card spot, like maybe even second wild card spot. And if they don't, they'll be like 1 or 2 points away from it. And I think they're one of those playoff teams. It's like, yeah, they made second wild card, but the way they got to that spot is like they came from nowhere. So the team that gets matched up against them in the first place would be so annoyed because it's like, fudge. We worked so hard all year to get first, so we get the easiest matchup, right? But if a team like the Islanders comes from so far behind, like that winning pace is almost as good as like a high-end team. So you're playing against a good last place team. You see where my head's at there? So that's a team that people are not going to want to play against come playoff time because they're tough. They've got Big Z on defense. Pulock, Pulak, I don't know how you want to pronounce it, Pellick. Those are big guys back there. You don't want to play against those guys. Then you have Barzal who can burn you and make you look like an idiot because he just turns on the jets and outskates you. You got Anders Lee who's going to beat you up. Like, it's Matt Martin. Like, they're a team, Kyle Clutterbuck, like, they're a team you don't want to play. So, I mean, look, it is what it is. We'll see if they make it. I can tell you within 2 weeks, if in 2 weeks they're still below 500, they're not making the playoffs. But if they're in 2 weeks, they're above 500, I guarantee you they'll make the playoffs. That's my prediction for the Islanders. They're an unexpected failure for me right now, but they have a chance. I think they're going to make it. But I'll give them 2 weeks, and then I'll make my verdict. But I think
Spicy hot take.
I think they're going to make it.
Yeah, I'm interested. We'll see. I mean, I would like to see them in the playoffs, though. Like, so.
Yeah, I don't.
No, I love when the Islanders are in the
I wanna
playoffs.
play them.
It's good for hockey.
They've had their time. They've had their chance.
Dennis Potvin was overrated. You know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so I mean, so we were talking about unexpected failures. I went the player route. For me, it was Pedersen. As a Canucks fan, it is a little unexpected failure because his first few years in the league, he was doing crazy good. Even in the playoffs, he's over point per game, and that wasn't even in his rookie year. That was like year 3, I would say. I think that was year 3 of his career.
Was that
So
last
it's not
year?
even like it was like 1 calendar year, I guess, from now, or like it was the bubble year, like the first bubble
Yeah.
year. So
He was on fire.
2020 somewhere. Yeah, he was over point per game, and he was like the best forward for us, especially in the Vegas series. And yeah, then last year happened, and it was just a down year for everybody. They had so many bad things happen to them, like how we're talking about the Islanders this year, how so many bad things happened to them. The start of the year, being on the road for so long, and then the COVID concerns. That's how I felt about the Canucks last year, and a lot of people felt about them as well. And a lot of players got a mulligan. Like even Hughes had a pretty down year, and but anyway, so they had the full off season, and Pedersen, he sat out the whole rest of last season, and he came into this season, and he's not bad, he's not horrible or anything like that. He's just not putting up the points how he used to in his first few years, and even in the playoffs, and that was super disappointing for a lot of Canucks fans. It's great that they're playing as good as they're playing right now without him, but it's definitely a disappointment. But that being said, as we were talking about earlier, development isn't always linear, and he is super young still, and I'm sure he'll get back to scoring and get back to looking like himself. Like it's not even like his goal scoring that people are upset about. He just honestly does not look as dangerous. He doesn't look as confident as he used to. And I'm just saying that as someone who's seen every single game he's played. There's a noticeable difference between few years ago and how he was playing and his confidence, his swagger, and how he's playing now. And something along, I don't know if it was from his wrist injury or whatever it was, but it's just been a little disappointing for Canucks fans to see this year how he's been playing.
And he looks
So that's my
tired.
disappointment. Yeah.
He just looks tired too. Like
It
I don't
sucks
know.
too because he's out there. Everyone always says it. The media says it. Boudreaux's even been saying it that he's the one guy that's always staying back in practice constantly. Every practice, he's the last guy there. Even when they go to the games, he's the last guy in the ice. Him and Hughes every single time, and it's not like the effort isn't there. It's just not going for him for whatever reason. So yeah, that's the disappointing pick for me.
Yeah, that's fair. It's rough. It's rough watching him because you like with every fiber of me, I want him to succeed. Like I had him in fantasy hockey, and I held on to him until yesterday. I finally dropped him yesterday because I was like, screw this. I'm picking up Sam Reinhart. He's trying. He's playing well. So I picked up Sam Reinhart, but for a long time, man, I held out for so long. Bruce Boudreau comes in and I'm like, let's go. More ice time, more chances. He's getting more shots. And I'm like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And then -1. I'm like, fudge, bro. What more do you need? So I finally dropped him, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But hey, yeah, that's a good pick. He'll probably turn around soon, but it's a very good pick for an unexpected failure.
Yeah.
I'm sure all of us expect him to do well. Nick, who is? Did you already answer? I don't think so. Hey, who's your unexpected failure?
I didn't pick unexpected failure. I'm gonna go with Philly.
Yeah.
Go with Philly. Yeah, Philly. I feel like every year with them, you feel like they're right there. They're a good team. They're just on the cusp of something, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work with them. And I thought this year they'd be back in, and they've been going on. I'm sure you guys are aware of their pattern that they make it one year, they don't make it the next year, then they make it. It's like on and off with them. So they were supposed to make it this year, but it doesn't look like they're going to make it. So I'd say they're my unexpected failure. I thought maybe bringing in Jones, something would spark them, but just nothing there.
I think it's for me going into the season, I did not have the highest hopes for the Flyers, and the reason why is because I think they put too much faith into thinking Ristolainen was gonna be some crazy miracle man that's gonna save their defense.
But he is though.
They gave a first round pick and it is not working out. And even Yandel too. Like Yandel was a guy who was getting scratched in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
And I just saw you just look at their defense and it just isn't the greatest.
It's like a defense built from 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like they built their team.
It's bad. I don't think it should be this bad though.
Even Ryan Ellis isn't that bad. But
he's played 5 games.
He's injured though.
He's played 5 games. Not even. I think he's played 3. That's why. No. That's a big problem. He's played 5 or something games.
But even if he's in there, they wouldn't be in a spot right now. I don't know. I feel like they should have been edging out Pittsburgh right now. I feel like it should be them instead of Pittsburgh, and of course it's Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh always gets it.
And Malkin's
we can't have nice. Yeah, Malkin's coming back, and they're already doing well. That's cool.
Dude, it's that culture in Pittsburgh, man. Everyone knows they can succeed in Pittsburgh. I swear.
Bring back Simmons.
And I think TW By was asking to bring up Drew O'Connor too. That guy's looked good too in Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh just has this thing where like everyone succeeds there, man. They can bring in like some random guy and you'll play his career years in Pittsburgh, and then they'll just trade him. It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, let's move on to our last and most. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say quickly. I'll never forget the year I won fantasy hockey is the year I picked up Brian Rust from free agency.
Bro,
get Alex Nylander.
Yeah, maybe I should do that.
Maybe that's the move, bro.
Yeah, but sorry. Go on. Last segment you were saying.
Wait,
I was going to say, let's move on. Oh, go ahead, Punch.
Failure. So I had originally put down the New York Islanders, but in the five minutes I've had to research, I think one of the weirdest ones is the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah.
Anything with like Taves Kane, DeBrincat, Jones, Marc-Andre Fleury. Who else did they pick up? They picked up.
Well, they have Kirby Dach too, and like
Kirby Dach, Dylan Strome. Their defense is a little on the weak side, but like
it's pretty bad.
Still, those are perennial all-stars.
Yeah.
And granted, they're going through a whole management change and a whole coaching change, but still, like Patrick Crane, like he's a good player, solid.
He's more than solid.
But yeah, he's okay. I mean, he could be a good third line player one day.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, he's got good potential.
He has potential. But there's not a whole lot to say other than that.
We were sold. I mean, we were all sold high on them going into the season. Everyone was selling high, saying, "Oh, they're gonna get in. This is it." And I was kind of skeptical. I thought they'd be hanging around. I didn't think they'd be this bad. But yeah, the media was definitely pumping their tires a little bit there.
Oh, 100%. And
that
honestly,
is a good pick, though.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say it is a good pick because exactly what you were saying. Going into the season, it just felt like that. Even myself, I'm guilty of it as well. Like bringing in Jones and then Fleury as well. And then they already had some good players playing, like Doc and DeBrincat. Like they're young players and they're doing good. Blending in with the older crowd as well, and Taves was coming back this year too. There's so many things going for them that looked like they were probably going to make the playoffs or at least push, like Nick was saying, being in the contention. But guess not.
Yeah, and Spider-Man once again in our chat brings up a very good point. It's tough to expect a team with so many new pieces to perform well. Now you look at the Chicago Blackhawks, they move away Bulkfist, they move away Keith, like they move away some key parts to their blue line. Like their offense looks about the same as usual, but they moved away some key pieces to their blue line, and they expect it to be the same. So that's a really good point by Spider-Man from Naruto in our chat. And yeah, it's tough for new teams with a lot of new players to succeed. Like the Montreal Canadiens had a huge amount of overhaul, and even when they were all healthy at the beginning of the year, they all played pretty poorly. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, no, that's a very good point from our chat as well. Thank you for the follow, by the way, Kevin, or it's K Lawson. All right, Loxon, my bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the CS
Honestly,
makes
dude,
but you never know.
I'm the worst of it, so don't even worry.
All
These
right.
guys will know.
I did my best. I apologize, Kevin. All right, let's move on to our. We'll cut out the fantasy hockey stuff because we're already at an hour, and we'll cut it off there. But let's do our last segment, which is probably going to be the most controversial because we're basically saying your team's going nowhere in any direction. You're just kind of stuck where you're at, and your team's content with that. So that's probably going to be the biggest insult to you guys out there. I apologize if you're a fan of that team, but from an outsider's perspective, that's what it looks like to us. So I'll start us off quickly here. I have two teams. I'm going to get hate for one of them from someone in this call. I have two teams that are considered masters of mediocrity. Berdaman brought them up before. The Dallas Stars. I have them as masters of mediocrity because they're neither here nor there. They're not rebuilding. They're not contending. They're kind of just content with maybe making the playoffs, being a wild card team, going out in the first round. That's what I see when I look at the Dallas Stars. So that's my reasoning. They're 15, 12, and 2, and 22nd in the NHL. So that's my reasoning for the Dallas Stars. They have no direction right now. We'll see what they take, but that's what I went with. And my second team, Ponchi's going to hate me, is the San Jose Sharks. I had them as masters of mediocrity, and their record is the definition of mediocre. They are 19th in the league, and the only reason why I see them in 19th in the league is because they have so many more games played. They've played 34 games. Most teams have played about 30. They're 17 wins, 16 losses, and 1 overtime shootout loss. So they've won their extra time wins. But that makes for a record of 17 and 17. You can't get much more mediocre than that. San Jose Sharks, once again, hang on, another team that has no direction to me. Like, are you rebuilding or are you not? You got Erik Karlsson and Brent Burns and all these old guys, but you also have Logan Couture, Thomas Hertl. Like, you got some younger guys there. Like, what are you doing? You don't have a lot of crazy good prospects. Like, they have that one guy there. I don't remember his name, but he's very good. Poncho will fill me in on that, I'm sure. That one center there was really good. He's a good prospect. But other than that, like, I don't know what direction they're going. Like, who's their future goalie? Who's, like, James Reimer's not going to be a star forever. Like, he's playing well, but, like, come on. Like, where are you going? That's my picks for the Master of Mediocrity. You guys can discuss now why I'm dumb or why I'm smart. Poncho, I'll let you start because I can tell you're heated.
Yeah. I mean, we're letting the old guard retire, so we can't. It's not quite right to call up Merkley. Brandon Coe's leading the OHL in points. He's a Sharks boy. We're gonna bring him up eventually. Bordelot's finishing with Owen Power. He's on that Michigan team that's just tearing it up right now. Like, the future is bright, and we're gonna have to suffer through some mediocrity. But is there any chance you can bring up that meme I just sent in the chat?
I saw it.
The meme you brought up in the chat.
I wanted you to start off with it's kind of funny how. I think that would have been perfect if you started your whole segment with that.
But yeah, no, like
my bad, guys.
It's painful as a Sharks fan because, like, I love winning, and we've been doing it for years. But you know,
you guys have some of our best prospects, man.
Yeah,
and Jonathan Allen,
Gadjevich. It's gonna happen. We're gonna get back there, but it sucks right now.
Yeah.
Is it alright if I just give you my what is this? The Master of Mediocrity?
Yep. Yeah. Masters of Mediocrity. The You Have No Direction Right Now card. Or award.
Okay. So yeah, I was gonna put down the Sharks, but we've covered them already. So I'm gonna put down the second best team in Alberta, the Edmonton Oilers.
Okay.
What are you doing there?
You know what, dude? I heard they're interested in Babcock.
No, don't do it.
No, I'm not even picking that up. It's like it's been reported.
There's no way.
Yeah,
no.
Can you imagine? Oh my
They
goodness.
should
I'll
be
try and find
interested
this
in
tweet for you
finding a
guys.
team. Find a team to put beside McDavid and Draisaitl before you go and get
Tell me
Babcock.
why they came out
It's
with this defense and thought it was okay. That's what I need to know.
Bro, like who's their guy behind Darnell Nurse? Is it Duncan Keith? Is he their number 2 left-handed defenseman?
I'll pull it up for you right now.
I was just showing Edmonton love last week, though, so I don't
I
want to.
mean, they've been on a
I still think-
terrible
left side-
skid.
Bad stretch.
The left
Yeah.
side is Nurse,
They're
Keith,
slumping.
and Lagesson. I don't even know who that
Dude.
is.
Dude,
So-
like that guy's been on every NHL team from what I've heard. He's Mr. Hockey. He just plays everywhere, that guy. I've heard his name everywhere.
And then you got
And now-
Bouchard, who's good, but then you got CC and Cuckoo, who are just like.
Did you guys see what Koskinen said this morning?
What he
Yeah,
said.
I did. I saw
So
it.
he said something along the lines of, I haven't been playing well, but I also can't score, or something like that.
Yeah,
It's
'cause he's
not
like,
my
there's
fault we're not
7
scoring.
goals. Yeah, he's like 7. He's like, you guys scored
Wrong.
7 goals in the last 8 games or something like
He's
that.
not wrong.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong in
No.
that sense, but like, buddy, you can't stop a beach ball and you're 6'7". Like, come on.
He can't. He can in NHL 22.
Yeah,
really
because
good
he's the
in
cheat
NHL
code in
22.
NHL because he can drop into his
Yep.
5-hole within a fraction of a millisecond. But in real life, his 5-hole is like the underneath of the Eiffel Tower, guys. Like it's
Yeah.
it's an open barn, man. You can shoot whatever you want down there. You'll score with a hockey puck. You'll score with a soccer ball. You'll score with a beach ball. Like, bro, his 5-hole is open for business right now. That sounds weird, but you know what I mean.
Keep it PG, lazy. Come on.
Sorry,
But
guys.
yeah,
I got
like-
carried away. I was too
You know, it
excited.
happens. It happens. We're talking
So-
hockey. We get a lot. We get really excited if you can't.
I was
tell.
too excited,
We're all
guys. I'm sorry.
nerds. We're huge
But yeah.
nerds.
But aside from like McDavid, Draisaitl, like Nugent Hopkins, cool. Duncan Keith, great if it was 4 years ago. Who else? Mike Smith. What? What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing, Edmonton? And it's fun because I'm a Calgary boy, but like anywhere else, what are we doing? Or what are you doing?
How long do you guys give McDavid until he wants out?
I honestly
long-
think if Babcock comes in, I don't know
He's
how
gone.
long it's gonna be.
He's gone. See ya.
How long
Yeah.
does he have on his contract?
Oh man.
Probably
Oh, a
5
while.
years, 6 years, something like that.
Yeah, I don't
So,
see it
I'll
lasting
give
very
it
long.
5 years.
McDavid is signed until 2026. So 4 years.
man.
That's not that long.
That's actually not that long. 4 more seasons.
Bro, what? Wait, they could. Wait. He's a UFA. at the end of
Draisaitl,
that.
3 more seasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
but then Edmonton's gonna have so
Yo,
much money to
McDavid?
pay him.
McDavid, for your sake, walk. Yo, you'd have teams lining up with limos, $15 million in the back of it. Like, you'd have every option to go anywhere you want, man. Go wherever. Like, oh my god. I mean, the teams that are going to give him $50 million a year are not going to be the good teams, but the point is he can go anywhere he wants. He can look at any organization and say, yo, if you put me on that team, we're winning everything. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
oh man, McDavid, I'd walk, bro. I'm sorry. I mean, loyalty is a thing, but unless they fix their team within the next 4 years and find a way to get a
Well,
good
sure.
D-core, good goalies who aren't 45 and 45 or 6'5" and can't stop a beach ball, and good forwards around you, like, dude, just walk, go wherever you want, man.
Your
Anyway,
third scoring option is Ryan Nugent Hopkins,
Mhm.
the guy that got
He's a good
picked
player, though.
before Landeskog.
The guy that say that again. Sorry, I missed it.
He got picked before Landeskog.
Oh yeah.
I mean, does Landeskog
So
really
Landeskog-
solve their issues though?
I don't think
He's only
Hopkins isn't a bad player, but
no, but
He's not
there's
Landeskog,
just
but yeah.
nothing there. There's nothing there. It's just I don't
he's a great third line center. But that's not like we don't tank for third line centers.
no. And I mean, the
I
reason
think
I
it
was
better than a third line
defending,
center. No.
yeah, I think he could be a second line guy.
He's easily
I
a
think
second
he
line
can.
guy on other teams. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But behind
But the
Draisaitl
only
and
reason I
McDavid, yeah.
defended Edmonton, the only reason I defended Edmonton last time was because I thought McDavid and Draisaitl could just keep doing their thing and drag them. But as you could see, when they kind of lose steam, there's just nothing there.
Well, like,
There is
dude,
that.
I was saying like from those. I mean, we didn't do this podcast early in the year, but I was saying how unsustainable it was because all of their games were winning. They were winning by power play goals. Every single game they
Yeah.
won was power play goals. That was it, and
Mm.
they had so little even strength goals compared to power play goals. And I was saying, once you take that away, and this was like, it's fine. That's great. You have a great power play. That's obviously a big part of the game. But McDavid is complaining about the playoffs, so he doesn't get penalties. He doesn't draw penalties, whatever it is, and and it was this year is being masked to how good their power play was, and then you take that away, and now the defense is. I mean, we're now midway through the season, we're getting close to it, and people are figuring out the defense, and yeah, it's just looking like they're coming down to earth now. And I was saying it was inevitable. I was saying it was going to happen. I still think they probably won't make the playoffs unless they really just end up losing every single game, man. But um, yeah, if they don't fix that defense, I think that's the biggest thing. The defense and the goalie, like, that's like the two biggest things. Otherwise, if they fix one of those things, I'm sure like what you're saying, Nick, would work out perfectly. Like McDavid, Draisaitl can carry as much as they can, and then
Yeah.
rely on goaltending, rely on the defense to play better. But they don't have either of those things in check right now. So,
Yeah.
that's a good pick, Punch. You caused the biggest discussion here with the Oilers, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
good pick there.
Yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
pick, Paunchy. Great pick.
Well, because like even Wayne Gretzky didn't win by himself. He had Anderson, he
Such a
had
good team.
Mark Messier,
Such
he
a
had
good team.
who else? He had Coffee,
They have,
he had Tikkanen.
Mhm.
Like, come on, like if you
Yeah.
put it together, Edmonton.
No,
I mean,
I'm okay. They don't have to put it together. I'm okay
I
with
mean,
that.
in their defense, though, they did try to fix some of the scoring issues. They went out like they still have Puljujarvi, they still have Yamamoto, who took a step back, sadly, this
Mhm.
year. It seems they have Nugent Hopkins, they have Draisaitl and McDavid. Right, those are 5 pretty good forwards. Like not great, but I mean, obviously McDavid and Draisaitl are amazing, but like the 3 other guys around them are solid guys. Like they're decent. They're definitely top 9 players. Yamamoto's a good third liner. Puljujarvi's ideally a third/second liner. He's a really good guy at being in front of the net and tipping pucks in and outpowering guys, but he's like a second, third line guy. Hyman's an ideal second line winger. I love Hyman I love that they picked up Hyman. He's a great player for them. But now he makes Cassian irrelevant. You know, like what's Cassian gonna do now? Because Hyman has that spot.
Yeah.
So
You look kind of like Hyman.
really,
You kinda
I'll take that, bro.
yeah,
He's
I
a
think
handsome
so.
fella. I'll take that. Yo, that guy's huge, bro. He's jacked, man. Zach Hyman, like him and Gallagher are jacked, man. To play the type of hockey they play, those guys are freaking built, man. They're tanks.
Mhm.
I'll take that. Thank you. But yeah, no.
I'll watch the chat rips us for that.
Whatever. That's fine. And I saw
The
in
chat's
chat
having a
actually.
good time in there.
I saw
Yo,
the
shout
chat
out
talking
chat.
about how we might turn them off next stream. Don't worry. The whole point of this podcast is to engage everybody, to engage the audience. So for those of you listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you're listening to this podcast, YouTube, feel free to comment in the YouTube section. Feel free to check us out on Twitch. And tune in live. We're going to be streaming Wednesdays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be streaming Sundays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Nick is probably going to do once a week because he already does a lot of streaming as it is. But for the rest of us, like we'll be here twice a week, or whoever can be here will be here twice a week. So tune in. Let us know what you want us to cover. Like we already addressed a few things in the comments, like the Nylander trade. We talked about the McIntyre signing, although they're not huge deals, but like there's still stuff to talk about. And like we do pay attention to what you say in the chat, so we can bring it up when it's relevant. So don't worry, you won't be turned off because the point of this podcast is to have everybody involved. And thank you, King Lime, for the follow, by the way. So anyway, Nick, let's move on to your Masters of Mediocrity, and then we'll probably call it there. Or Birdie, did you get to say yours, right?
No. You guys covered it. It's okay. Go on.
Oh,
with
we
it,
covered
so.
it? Okay. So yeah, go ahead,
Did I
Nick.
not say mine already? I didn't say my Masters of Mediocrity.
I don't think so.
So
Columbus. Columbus.
That's a
They're
fair
just
pick.
they're just perpetually mediocre. Like even when they're doing good, they'll maybe squeak into the first round and nothing happens. They've been in the same place for years now, and they're not getting in this year. They'll be right there. They're not going to get in. They're okay. They can be a tough team to play against some nights. Other nights, you can have your way with them. So that would be my pick for mediocre. I think they're just perfect for that. Sorry to all. I don't think he's in here, but I have a Columbus fan in my channel, and I'm sure he wouldn't be happy about that. But it's reality. They're just not a good team.
Yeah, I mean
Sorry, all
they've
Columbus fans.
they've been without Line for like most of the season though. So like when they had Line, they were gelling. Like when they had Line and they were playing pretty solid, and they've definitely, I agree with you, they definitely middled out since he left, took a leave, because I know his dad passed away. Well, he was injured first, and then I think his dad passed away, so he went back to Finland to be with his family for the funeral and the ceremony and stuff, and to recover from his injury. And then with COVID, he couldn't come back right away or something. But he's back. Like, I have him in fantasy hockey. I had him on my IR list for a while because, I mean, I'm not dropping Line, bro. If that guy puts up 40 goals randomly, like he could put up 30 goals in 30 games if he wanted to. Like, he just do it if he wanted to. Like, he's done it almost. Like, he can just do it if he wanted to. If he gets hot, like, he can just do it. So hopefully, Nick, hopefully your prediction turns around for Columbus, because it would be nice to see them succeed, especially after Tortorella's gone. But did I say Columbus weird? I don't know.
Did you?
I don't know. I see Birdie laughing in the background. I thought I said something weird.
No, man. My friend is texting me that she's making fun. I always wear this white hat. I think I've wore it every time on this podcast as
I
well.
always wear this. I wear this
Yeah.
every single day. So
Hey, who cares?
I'm right
It's
there
tradition.
with you, man.
You know what? That exactly. It's tradition. It just is what it is.
Hey, Eves, thank you for the sub too. Wow, what the heck? Eves, you're getting a shout out on all the platforms for this podcast. Thank you for the sub. We appreciate it for 2 months. All right. I think that's a good way to end this podcast. It's an hour and 20 minutes in, or actually it's probably about an hour in. I just realized because I did the whole starting soon thing, but we'll call it there. I do appreciate everyone for stopping by. And quickly, MTV Money says their favorite team are their favorite teams, because all I know is they need to hit the puck in a goalie. Interesting. That's okay. So whoever MTV is watching, that's their favorite team. So that's okay. With that,
We'll talk more about that next week.
yeah, we'll definitely talk about
week's
that next
episode, We
week.
got you.
But yeah, we'll end it there, guys. If you guys want to leave off anything, let me know. If you have anything coming up that you want to address on the podcast and let our audience know, feel free to let it be heard now.
I don't really have too much going for me. I mean, if you guys want to catch me on Twitch, though, you can. It's the same thing as my name here, Berdaman. That's about it for me.
Perfect. Paunchy, Nick, anything special going on, or?
No, but next week we have one of the former goalies that used to play for Arizona State, so that'll be a fun one next week.
Yeah, and that will be Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. That's gonna be a fun interview. So Paunchy's gonna be taking the lead on that. That's his lead, so we'll let him handle most of the interview, and he'll be a bit more of the host next week. So that'll be, or not next week, but this coming Sunday. So that'll be a fun time there. And Nick, anything to bring up? Maybe just that you're streaming in the mornings or something?
Yeah, just more of the same. 9:30 a.m. if you want to catch me on Twitch. I'm there every day. I might do a 24-hour stream for my birthday.
There you go.
Might
When's
be
your
fun.
birthday?
That's January
Let's go.
21st.
Let's
Oh,
go. I'm definitely
we're
tuning in.
apart, man. We're a
I-
week apart.
so-
Yo, dude,
Subathon.
When are you?
13th.
Oh, I see you.
Oh.
Okay.
Mm.
coming up.
I'd have to get another 24-hour in, bro.
Oh no. No.
Jesus, bro, 24
Yeah,
hours
don't do it.
streams
Don't
is
do it,
draining.
bro. Don't do it. It's rough.
All right, well, we'll call it there. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by. To all of you who listened this far, you're a trooper. I appreciate it. We got 12 viewers in the Twitch chat, so I appreciate you all for stopping by as well. Feel free to check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube, or Twitch. So for now, our name is, on at least for our platform, is the SNBP Podcast. You can find us by looking that up on, as I said, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. But to find us on Twitch and YouTube, you look up Some Lazy Guy 09, or you can just look up the SNBP Podcast. It'll probably come up because we have a few episodes posted by now. So we'll catch you guys in the next one. We do stream from my Twitch, but I will be updating my Twitch handle to say the SNBP Podcast Network or something along those lines, just to make it easy for you guys to find us. So yeah, going forward, you'll look for that. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Appreciate all your support. I'll see you again soon. All right. Peace.
Yes.